Home. I'm the president of Lucy's Edmonton Advocates Project, also known as LEAP. So I'll try to be as brief as I can so we can get on with the film. Starting with this cartoon, it's fitting for what we're discussing today. So I'll start with Lucy's history. Lucy was born in the wilds of Sri Lanka in 1975. She was captured by a German wildlife broker and sold to the Storyland Valley Zoo, now known as the Edmonton Valley Zoo, at just 2 years of age. Young Lucy was all alone until 1989 when she was given an African elephant companion named Samantha. Samantha was sent to a zoo in North Carolina in 2006 on a breeding loan and never came back. The zoo claimed they didn't get along. In the photo you see, that's Lucy on the left and Samantha on the right. They're engaging in a typical elephant behavior called trunk wrapping, and trunk wrapping is a sign of affection amongst Asian elephants. We can't say for sure whether the two elephants did or didn't get along, but we certainly know there was some sort of a bond formed between the two. Here are some photos comparing Lucy's home to Samantha's home. One thing you'll notice is at the zoo in North Carolina, there is no indoor enclosure. Because the climate there is appropriate for elephants, they are able to be outdoors at all times. Contrasted to Lucy, who, because of our climate, spends up to 75% of her time indoors. Elephants are not indoor animals. Since 2006, several animal welfare groups have advocated to see Lucy sent to sanctuary. Lucy's plight has gained international attention and widespread criticism in the elephant community. Legal action has been filed twice on Lucy's behalf. Her current case is under appeal and awaiting a verdict. We'd like to thank ZooCheck and Voice for Animals Edmonton for bringing forward the legal case on Lucy's behalf. The Edmonton Valley Zoo has been listed in the top 10 worst zoos for elephants in North America for 7 years straight by the well-regarded organization In Defense of Animals. In 2015, a custom-made insulated coat was designed for Lucy after donations were collected from across the globe from people who were concerned about Lucy living in our climate. We delivered the coat to the zoo with a gift for the zookeepers as a show of good faith, and they declined to accept Lucy's coat. We have never seen her wear it, and we don't know what happened to it since we gave it to the zoo. As of May 19th, Lucy has been in Edmonton for 41 years. During this time, her enclosure has remained essentially unchanged. According to her records, Lucy has only been examined by 2 outside vets, both from within the zoo industry. Lucy suffers from numerous captivity-induced conditions resulting from a lack of exercise and standing on hard, unnatural substrates. Those are arthritis, obesity, foot disease, a sleep disorder, and zoochosis. Zoochosis is a psychosis due to isolation and boredom, and it's indicated by stereotypical movements like rocking, swaying, and head bobbing. Zoochosis isn't only found in captive zoo elephants, it's found in many elephants living in zoos. Lucy has demonstrated this behavior. None of these conditions exist in wild elephants and are the reason for the premature death of zoo elephants. In particular, arthritis and foot disease are usually the culprits for the premature demise of elephants in zoos. The Edmonton Valley Zoo also claims that Lucy suffers from a respiratory ailment, which precludes her from being safely moved to sanctuary. The zoo vets have been unable to establish a diagnosis. They say that stress will aggravate this condition and put her life at risk. This has not been independently verified by independent species experts. There are a number of violations to our Alberta zoo standards with regards to Lucy. Our zoo standards state, all animals must be maintained in sufficient numbers to meet their social and behavioral needs. A minimum of grouping of 3 is what would be appropriate for female elephants. Animals must be able to retreat from the public view. Lucy is unable to retreat from the public view, either indoors or outdoors. All animal exhibits must be of size and complexity sufficient to provide for the animal's physical and social needs and species-typical behaviors and movements. Animals in areas where direct contact with visitors is possible must pose no danger to the public. This one we have quite a few concerns about with regards to the safety of the general public visiting the Valley Zoo. Lucy is walked throughout the zoo during public hours in close proximity to visitors. She's also used for fundraising activities with big crowds. And as well, the zoo offers an opportunity to spend time in Lucy's bedroom, is what they term it. And for, I believe, a fee of $1,500, you can bring a party right into Lucy's enclosure. We get sent photographs all the time, and we create pictures of moms standing with babies, small toddlers by Lucy's feet. We wonder if it's just a matter of time before something drastic happens. We read countless accounts of elephants lashing out, elephants in the circus industry and in zoos, and finally one day they've just had enough, and they actually will cause grave injury to visitors or their keepers when they lash out one day. And we just wonder if that will happen with Lucy, and then what? What is wrong with Lucy's environment? Well, first of all, climate is a big one. Elephants don't have fur coats, and they are not equipped to withstand the temperatures in northern Canada. There's a lack of space. Elephants require vast areas to roam and are normally on the move up to 20 hours a day. Elephants only sleep 4 hours a night. Lucy's enclosure is barren, lacking anything natural, and she has no elephant companions. Experts say keeping a lone female elephant is cruel. Elephants are highly intelligent and highly social, and normally live in large tight-knit family groups. Lucy's area has no access to trees, no mud pit, or no area to swim. In Lucy's yard, it's surrounded by trees, but they are just out of her reach. She doesn't have a mud pit to wallow in, and she doesn't have a place to swim. In the film, you'll see footage from Elephant Nature Park, which is an elephant sanctuary. They have over 80 elephants there. When they get a new elephant in, they have to keep that elephant segregated for a period of time. They will build a pool specific for that one elephant, and they'll do it in a matter of weeks for therapy for that elephant. And Lucy, 41 years later, is still waiting for her pool. And lastly, Lucy's keepers manage her with bull hooks, so they train her through fear. We're not saying that Lucy is being beaten at the Valley Zoo, but at some point in her life, she would have undergone beatings in order to make her compliant and docile. And so she remembers those beatings well, and therefore she's fairly cooperative when she sees a bull hook. Lucy's yard is only 0.5 acres, and her barn is 2,200 square feet. According to the Coalition of Captive Elephant Wellbeing, elephants in captivity should have enough space to travel at least 10 kilometers daily while engaged in natural behaviors like foraging, feeding, exploring, and socializing. Common myths about Lucy. The first one we hear often, Lucy is an old elephant. No, Lucy is still a relatively young elephant. She just turns 43 this year. I've personally seen elephants, dozens of elephants in their 70s and even their 80s. So this misconception that Lucy is a senior elephant is simply not true. Another one is Lucy would die if transported to sanctuary. There is no reason to believe this is true. Elephants across the globe, many older and sicker than Lucy, have made it safely to sanctuary. And you'll see that in today's film. The elephant being transported is 70 years old. She's unwell, and she's able to make a 27-hour trip to sanctuary. The Edmonton Valley Zoo rescued Lucy as an orphan. Again, not true. Lucy was actually purchased for just under $10,000. Lucy is a people elephant and is antisocial with other elephants. There is no such thing as a people elephant, according to experts. Lucy has had little choice but to bond with her keepers and has never had a chance to bond with another Asian elephant. Many celebrities have spoken out on Lucy's behalf. There's a few listed here, and there's more. Also, numerous world-renowned elephant experts have weighed in on Lucy and have offered to lend their expertise to her medical issues. We have a few quotes from some of those experts. Dr. Joyce Poole, Lucy is a young elephant in an old elephant's body because of spending so much time in a concrete barn. She's unable to do what's needed to maintain good physical health and mental well-being. Dr. Philip Ansley, my opinion is Lucy is in chronic pain and her living in freezing temperatures is likely the cause of her respiratory symptoms. Sorry. There we go. Dr. Keith Lindsay, the suggestion that human keepers can substitute for the company of elephants is based on no evidence from the scientific literature. Lucy's stereotypical actions are an expression of social boredom and lack of stimulation. She would benefit greatly from the company of elephants. And finally, Dr. Mel Richardson. Lucy is in pain and is suffering. If moved to sanctuary, I'm confident Lucy will adapt well, with a good chance she will integrate socially with other elephants. The warm climate and expansive terrain will allow her to heal from her chronic arthritis and foot ailments. The causes of her physical distress, being inadequate enclosure and inhospitable climate, will be removed. Elephants in zoos. The average lifespan of elephants in zoos is 45 years. Elephants living in natural settings can live as long as humans. So with Lucy turning 43 this year, her situation is quite urgent. Elephants suffer more in zoos and have a shorter life expectancy than nearly any other species. Progressive zoos no longer utilize punitive training methods like bullhooks. They use positive reinforcement for training instead. And now that we know how damaging captivity is to elephants, many zoos are evolving and are willingly transferring their elephants to sanctuaries, such as Detroit, San Francisco, Vancouver, Toronto, Madison, and others. And in fact, now since Vancouver, Calgary, and Toronto have moved their elephants south, Lucy is the only elephant remaining in a Canadian city-owned zoo now. Why are zoos bad for elephants? Elephants are in constant motion. Zoos cannot meet their vast space requirements. Many zoos are located in inappropriate climates for elephants. And elephants normally live in close kinship groups with mothers, grandmothers, aunts, juveniles, and babies for their entire lifetimes. Often elephants in zoos are later separated from their companions after living together for years, when they are sent to other zoos for a variety of reasons. Many zoos, especially those in northern climates, have indoor facilities with concrete floors and outdoor yards with compacted earth that foster foot infections, which are deadly to elephants. Sanctuaries, where would Lucy go? The majority of elephants living in sanctuaries are between 50 to 70 years of age, and there are even a few approaching their 90s. There are 2 U.S. sanctuaries that have offered Lucy a home: Paws Sanctuary in California and the Elephant Sanctuary in Tennessee. Costs for Lucy's transport have already been secured. Advantages are vast terrain with various substrates, ponds or rivers for swimming, trees for foraging, mud pits for wallowing, rolling hills, warm weather year-round, and freedom of choice, and most importantly, companionship. Here are two photos from the sanctuaries. At the top is the Paw Sanctuary in California with 2,300 acres, and the Elephant Sanctuary in Tennessee with 2,600 acres. So what are we asking for regarding Lucy? It's a simple request. Advocates simply are asking for the Valley Zoo and the City of Edmonton to allow an independent team of experts to examine Lucy and determine what would be best for her future. The experts are willing to come. This request has been made for years. All costs for such an examination are already available and would not cost the city or taxpayers a cent. If unbiased experts determine it would be unsafe to move Lucy, we would simply advocate for her to have better living conditions at the Valley Zoo. So since we've had little response from City Council or the Valley Zoo, we've started a new campaign called #PutLucyOnAgenda, and we are requesting that Lucy be added to an upcoming City Council meeting agenda so we can have a transparent discussion about options for her future. Thousands of citizens have sent emails, letters, and postcards to City Hall requesting to put Lucy on the agenda, but so far those requests have been ignored. Claims have been made that Lucy has been examined by a chorus of veterinarians, but the zoo is not willing to provide this information. Freedom of information requests of her health records indicate only the 2 vets from the zoo and circus industry that have examined Lucy. Incidentally, we wanted to include the Edmonton Valley Zoo in our talk about Lucy and these screenings. They were invited by the Metro Cinema to participate in a panel discussion about Lucy, but unfortunately they declined. I'm almost done. So how can you help Lucy? Contact your city councilor and express your concern about Lucy and the lack of transparency surrounding her. Join her local advocacy group. We have information on the table of how to find us. We'd love to have you. Share her story and have a dialogue with people you know. Send in a postcard to your city councilor. We have some postcards available on our table. If you want to fill one out, we'll be happy to provide the postage and send that off on your behalf. Contact the Minister of Environment and the Premier. The Minister of Environment is responsible for upholding the Alberta Zoo standards and also for issuing the annual zoo permits to the Valley Zoo, despite the infractions to the zoo standards. And lastly, don't support the zoo until such time that they will allow a second opinion from neutral vets. I'm going to close now with just a video of Lucy. This is video I shot at the Valley Zoo. You'll see her 2 keepers on either side of her with the bull hooks that they're using to control her movements while she's out walking. What's striking is the speed in which Lucy walks. I've seen elephants twice her age that move much better than Lucy, and also she appears to be in pain with each step that she's taking. I can only imagine what it would be like to walk on hard-packed snow and ice and cold concrete when you're suffering from foot disease and arthritis. Oops. How did I lose that one? Did I get cut off? Anyways, this is a photo of myself with world-famous elephant rescuer Lek Chillard, who you'll meet in the upcoming movie. Lek has spoken out publicly about Lucy and has even offered to come to Edmonton to speak with our city council and to share her experiences with rescuing older and sicker elephants. And yes, she does amazing work. If you ever get an opportunity to visit Elephant Nature Park in Thailand, you can actually volunteer to work with the elephants. You wouldn't regret it. So this concludes my talk. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions about Lucy or about the film, I'll be available at our table in the lobby at the conclusion of the movie. We will also have a donation jar available, and that's for Lek's organization, the Save Elephant Foundation, and that's just to go towards rescuing more elephants from the tourist industry in Thailand. So thank you all very much, and please enjoy Love and Bananas.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.